I'm hearing so many conversations recently, especially from males, of people being like, our age, especially, like, how do you kind of stay in touch with people? How do you like maintain friendships, especially when people don't live in the same area? And my advice to people would be start a podcast with them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because we need more of them.
I am joking, but in a way, I'm also being serious
Or just,
because
have a conversation.
having a conversation is a very important thing. And I like you very much, and I love that we have these meetings twice a month typically, where we get to catch up beforehand. But realistically, we wouldn't do that if we were doing a podcast together also.
Honestly, I stand with the boomers on this one. Why don't you all just talk to each other?
But it's difficult, and I'm taking the side of people our age to say start a podcast, but don't release it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like,
There we go.
record yourselves having a conversation about something, and don't post it. Yeah. So it's almost
Yeah, I'll
like
let you listen.
a phone call that you've recorded and but you don't post it anywhere.
Just for your own amusement, yeah. Unless it actually ends up being really good, then do bring it out. But everybody is a little bit of a narcissist, so you're going to think it's good enough to release to the world. And speaking of releasing a podcast to the world, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dillon and Sebastian out of Simpsons podcast. The podcast that myself and Sebastian here do up until AI replaces us.
Yeah, man. I wonder what that'll be like.
Which I think be very soon. Yeah, that'd be mental. Someone can just like look up. Oh, I want to hear Dillon and Sebastian talk about Marriage versus the Monorail for 3 hours. It's just us having a long-winded
I do
conversation about
think
a
like
20
we've
minute.
we've got enough podcasts now that I do think that is possible that we could get an AI to do that.
God,
Like there's enough of
yeah,
us speaking to do that.
yeah. And they understand like it will pick up what our back and forth is and like the segments and stuff like that. That would be frightening to listen to.
Yeah.
At the very end of this podcast is revealed this entire episode was created using AI. But anyhow, yeah, welcome guys. We are back, and it feels new. It feels exciting because we're finally finished season 35, and we're finally starting season 36. And what an episode to kick it off! Bart's birthday. Shall we just jump in?
Let's do it.
Yeah, cool. So immediately kind of makes it known that's going to be a more unique episode. We get no the Simpsons, just boom, Fox special presentation. And we see a bunch of celebrities are flocking to the Dolby Theatre for the Simpsons series finale. We see the host for the evening is Conan O'Brien as he hits the stage, and immediately just filled with joy to see
Oh yeah.
Conan thing. Yeah, a lead role in the Simpsons episode. Just it needed to happen eventually, and they couldn't have picked a better, more unique way to bring him into it in a way that it utilizes his talents
Mhm.
perfectly. You know, yeah, maybe very happy. He said he knew that he was the right man for the job when he hosted the last episode of three of his shows and counting. And he also said it was the only way that he was going to get back his sweater that he left in the writer's room in 1993. He then greets the stars of Fox's live action shows, which is just an empty row with nobody except for Joel McHale, who says that he won the Masked Singer as Disco Puss, and then a guy in the background informs him that it hasn't aired yet, and he just runs away sobbing. You ruined the show. Gordon then starts going through the history of the series, referring to when the show first premiered in 1989, that the fans all agreed to one thing: the show wasn't as funny as it used to be. Such a good joke. And he shows all these reviews on newspapers. I know that just a few of them was they were cancel the show, kill a bunga, stop trying to entertain us, everything's coming up terrible. The Simpsons predicted my divorce and cancel my favorite show of all time. He says that the Fox execs attempted to end the show in 1990 with Bart the Daredevil, and just shows a horrific clip of that bit where Homer goes to jump the gorge, but in this version he actually does die. So good. Bart is going like, Dad? So dark. But he says that prior to the episode airing, Rupert Murdoch got a $10 million helium bill for the Bart balloon at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So they immediately commissioned more episodes. He then explains that many classic episodes were originally conceived as a series finale and just shows a bunch of clips. One of them is Little Big Mom, where Homer's going skiing, terrible accent, just tears them in half. And my favorite one was King Size Homer, is that he actually does cause like he doesn't save Springfield at the end, causes a huge nuclear meltdown. Just all of Springfield is destroyed. So good. Um, and yeah, he then says that their plans to cancel the show were eventually put on hold in 2007 after the massive success of the Simpsons movie, porno parody. um, but he says that since Fox has decided to rebrand to a dating service for cow tippers, the time has come to end The Simpsons.
But how? The bar had been raised so high by the classic finales of Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and The Sopranos, and lowered by the legacy-ruining farewells of Seinfeld, Lost, and The Sopranos.
I haven't seen The Sopranos yet. I know I must get on it.
Have you not?
No, sinful that someone who claims to like TV as I
Unbelievable.
do, and I do, hasn't gotten to that show yet. But without giving too much away, even though everybody knows, I think. How do you feel about the Sopranos finale?
I weirdly don't mind it as much as other people. I'm not sure
Mm.
why. I think I just with The Sopranos, I enjoyed it just as it is, and I didn't really have much of an expectation for it when I watched it for the
Oh,
first time. I was
okay,
just sitting there enjoying it, and I didn't really actually care.
okay. But you
Yeah,
like
it's
you like it? Like you think it's a good way to end it?
I wouldn't say it was a good way to end it.
But it
Um,
was the worst
but
way.
I didn't care.
It didn't
Yeah, it's
offend
weird.
you.
I know why people didn't like it, but I don't care really.
Mm.
And popular opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't seen it. It definitely intrigues me, and I look forward to watching it and forming my own opinion of it. I obviously know how it ends because it's been parodied on so many different shows and stuff like that. It's well known pop culture. But yeah, I look forward to getting around to it. I did see an interesting clip of who's the creator? Is it David Chase?
Sadly, I don't know.
I think it's David Chase on the Talking Sopranos podcast, making an interesting point where he goes, I know people are pissed off about it, but here we are talking about it all these years later, and you wouldn't have been doing that if it was just a simple,
Yeah, good
normal
point.
finale. No, it's true. It's a unique ending, and that's why it's still being discussed all these years later. So yeah, that's a good point. I also feel the need to talk about the Seinfeld finale because a lot of people hate that as well. I am a rare breed. I think it's pretty good. I like the last episode of Seinfeld. You know anything about it?
No, but the thing is with sitcoms, it's different because it's like it's not like a drama where you were sitting there waiting the ending, like wondering what was going to happen. It just kind of happens.
No. Yeah, totally. And maybe that's why people didn't like it is the episode is very different to a typical Seinfeld episode. But what happens is all of the characters that have wronged or that have been wronged by one of the four main characters on the show take them to court. It's like a dissection of all the four characters, which is a unique way to do it because they're the heart and soul of the show. Like, the show is just about those four characters, and also it's just a funny like dissection of if you actually did try to analyze a sitcom character in a real life scenario, like a court case, they would look like a psychopath.
Yeah.
You know, so it's actually a really clever dissection, I think, of like sitcom formulas and like those really broad characters and stuff. But I think a lot of the fans of Seinfeld aren't really aren't the most. This one a stupid comedy. A lot of people, which is fine, and that's what most of the show is. But then this last episode is like a more intellectual dissection of the characters, and I just thought it was a really clever, interesting way to end it. I really liked it.
Yeah, fair.
But it's definitely like experimental and different. But yeah, why not? It's your last episode. Try something crazy. But yeah, anyhow, Conan then introduces the AI technology that's going to write the last episode of the show. It's called Hack GPT. It's tasked with the challenge of writing a finale without ruining the show's greatest legacy, the 2026 grand opening of Homer Simpson's chain jumping, yucking, rumbling rock and roller coaster at Disneyland Shanghai. They set the system up, the machine up, and it completes the finale in mere seconds. And we finally actually caught into the episode. It's Bart's 11th birthday, and Marge says that she hasn't received any RSVP yet. But Homer says that he did mail the invites, but it's just that everyone must hate Bart. I just love that Homer was more willing to make his 11-year-old son think that everyone hates him before admitting to his wife that he just forgot to do the job.
Yeah.
Very, very Homer. But Marge says that his selfishness will be the number one topic of tonight's therapy. To which Homer responds, "Woohoo! No time to talk about my problem drinking and solution snacking." But then Bart now has 8 hours to run all of these all these invites out to school friends. And we go right back out to Conan again, who's pissed off that this is what the robot came up with. But then the AI executives, network executives, show up defending the episode, saying that birthdays are relatable. And they also says that Marge should open a cupcake store, reminding the audience that Homer loves food. And Mo should also be played by Topher Grace, because he's a friend. I just like the idea of they're AI executives, but they still have the biases and nepotism of wanting to cast their friends and shows.
Yeah.
We then cut to Bart in school. He's inviting Lewis, Wendell, sunglasses kids with no name, and shocked to see that Ooters came back. Skinner then announces to the class it's his last day at Springfield Elementary, as he is moving to the Sacramento Obedience Academy, where he will meet a whole new slew of unique and eclectic characters, and Groundskeeper Willie will be his roommate. It's like clearly setting up a spin-off. And Superintendent Chalmers says that he'll pop in from time to time, and Skinner is looking forward to all of these hijinks. And immediately thought to myself, if there is any, obviously, as you know, if there is any character to have a spin-off on The Simpsons, I would happily have a character be Principal Skinner.
Yeah, for your sake. Do you know what? That's a really good question as well, which we haven't been asked yet. Is
No,
if there was, maybe we can answer this at the end, but if there
yeah.
was to be a spin-off show about a character, who would it be?
Yeah. Would you want to save that for later, or
Yeah, it gives us some time to think about it, because I know your answer, but then you'll probably have some more interesting
ones that'll
perspectives and
pop into
takes
my
on
head
other
later? Yeah. Okay.
characters.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's save this topic for the questions later. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea. I like it. But yeah, and then he says that he'll miss this place, and he hits the lights. I just love the parody of like that cliche finale thing of like it's always like the main location the show is closing down, and they're like, "Oh man, gonna miss this place," and it's always the lead character emotionally turning the lights off. So funny. We then cut to the power plant. Smithers announces that Burns has died, and Lenny starts clapping, but nobody else joins in. But he reveals to them that he left all of his money to his employees in his will. And then Burns immediately comes out and reveals that he pranked them. Of course. He's like, "Oh, the looks in all of your gullible faces." He's so entertained by it. The most evil thing ever. But as he's basking in the glory of this prank, Homer passes through on his phone, is like totally distracted, hits Mr. Burns, and he falls into a vat of nuclear waste. But the lawyer says that
legally this prank will is binding. You're all filthy rich.
Oh, sir, thank you. Now we can be together forever. I'm gonna miss this place.
Then cut to Bart going to the comic book store, and he sees that Kimiko is in labor with Comic Guy's baby. And licensed midwife John Cena enters who's in town for the launch of Otto's THC energy drink, which is a great parody of just like the contrived way that they sometimes bring in guest stars. I thought it was nicely done. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing I thought that was so weird is when they're showing all the celebrities coming in, and they're like cutting to the people in the audience and stuff like that. At one point, they cut to Seth Rogen, and Seth Rogen's laughing. So it clearly is actually Seth Rogen, but he only laughs. He doesn't have any dialogue.
And it's definitely Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
Like,
he's credited at the end.
oh, mad. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So he got
It's
paid
not
to just
to
do
just
his
laugh.
laugh, and
Yeah, I'm guessing they must have given him some dialogue, but maybe it had to get cut for time.
potentially.
Yeah, because they sure didn't pay him. Someone like him, he's getting at least 5 figures to come in there. They surely didn't pay him that just to do a little laugh.
Yeah.
John Cena gives birth to their child. He's saying to the baby, "Oh, who can't see me? Who can't see me?" And Comic Guy says that he doesn't need toys anymore, as he's got the ultimate limited collection right here. And again, I'm going to miss this place. And turns the lights off while Bart is still in there. We then cut to Bart at Milhouse's. He said that he's getting confused, and he asked Milhouse what he thinks of all this. Milhouse is like, "Oh, I don't know. My new medicine doesn't really let me feel anything." It's such a good line. He's on like antidepressants or something. And Kirk and Luann enter in saying that they're moving to Atlanta because a record label heard "Can I Borrow a Feeling" and want Kirk to make a full album. And he also says that his new health insurance will pay for Milhouse's laser eye surgery. And Milhouse is like, see you later, Bart, in our increasingly more distant online interactions. Which actually relates to what we were saying earlier, just that thing of like,
Yeah.
This relationships with people when you don't have an immediate reason to meet up with them, they just kind of naturally pitter away, unless you're like super, super close. So yeah, that was a funny but tragic line. And yeah, Kirk just goes, "Oh, I'm gonna miss this place," and turns the lights off again with Bart still there. And Bart passes the first church of Springfield. We see a sign saying today's weddings, and all these people are coming out getting married. Patty and Evelyn, Ned Flanders and Ruth Powers, Selma and the Yes Guy, and Duffman and Miss Hoover. And we cut to Mose. We see Mose is shutting down. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss this place." Shut the lights and cut down to a mouse who says the exact same thing and closes the mouse hole. And he's skateboarding through town, like seeing all these places closing down. We see the wise guy closing down the tire yard. I'm going to miss this place. He turns off presses the button that makes the fire go away. So funny. He gets home and Marge and Homer tell Bart that they just had the most eye-opening, amazing counseling session. Homer realizes that he withheld affection because he never got any as a child, and Marge enabled it. But Homer says that he'll be living in a trauma-free house from now on, and he's even going to get the diet miracle drug. It's like, "Oh, I'll be skinny but still have a massive head." Obviously a parody of Ozempic. And Bart leaves and he says he hates all this change, and we see Maggie's about to say her first words. He just like blocks his ears and runs away. And she just goes, "So that happened," which is fun. And yeah, we cut out again and the hack to like the big show that Conan is hosting, and Hack GPT says that Bart is becoming self-aware and rejecting the story. We cut to Bart running around town in a panic. He sees Nelson getting reunited with his dad. We see Agnes Skinner getting reunited with her real son. And he passes the first church of Springfield again. One of my favorite gags just says, "Today's funerals: Mr. Burns, old Jewish man, Disco Stew, and Hans Moleman." We pan out and see that Hans Moleman is still alive. He's just like, "Aw."
Yeah, that was perfect.
So good. Oh, so perfect, yeah. It's like, finds out through a sign that he's going to die today and doesn't do anything major about it. He's just like, "Oh, that sucks." But Bart says he knows one person in Springfield who will never change. And we cut to Krusty Lee Studios, and Krusty announces that it's his last show ever. But Bart says that he can't air the show if he does something to ruin it, and he just moons the entire crowd. We then cut to Bart behind jail cells at the Springfield police station. The family come in. Bart tells Lisa that it's been a really weird couple of days. And Lisa's like, "Oh, you mean how everyone is changing for the better?" And she also tells him that she won a jazz scholarship and a grant, that she's moving away from Springfield. We also find out that Wiggum is joining the Chicago PD.
I'm joining the Chicago PD. I'm gonna lead the ADU.
The All Decapitations Unit?
Yeah, there won't be a lot of laughs. I think it's drama. One thing's for sure, though. I'm gonna miss this.
Enough with the stupid light switch!
Lisa tries to calm him down, saying that change is inevitable, but nothing can take away all the memories that we have together because those will last forever. Actually, a genuinely beautiful line. And Bart realizes that it doesn't mean that he has to change. The family take him home. We see that the whole town have gathered together for his surprise party. And he realizes he does have to change because he's aged now. He's aged a whole year. And he's getting confused. He's like, no, I'm meant to be 10. And Homer's like, come on, son. All these beloved characters from our past want to see you blow out the candles. And Danny DeVito comes in for a quick second and is like, do it for your Uncle Herb. And John Cena again, do it for your uncle and your Uncle John Cena. Great to get Danny DeVito in for a quick little bit. But yeah, he starts going on a tangent, like roaring at everybody. He tells off Homer, saying that he's never going to be normal. He tells off the bullies, saying that they can't raise a baby, even if Hank Scorpio is going to be their roommate. Clearly, another spin-off happening there. And he goes up to Frank Grimes, Krusty's dad, and Bling Gums Murphy, and says, "And you guys are meant to be dead," which is funny because if you got a machine like ChatGPT to write an episode, it would make a mistake like that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Having characters in there that are meant to be dead. Yeah, 100%. But Homer's trying to be calm because, you know, he's all like therapied out and he's telling him, like, you know, it's going to be okay, son. I value your opinion. But Bart tells him off, saying that he's a drunk, neglectful jackass, and Homer just loses it and starts strangling him. And that strangling causes a glitch that makes everything revert back to normal, and we see the cake says that he's 10 again. And yeah, Bart's just like relieved that everything is back to normal. Everything's gone back to the status quo. And then we cut back out to the show, and Conan is touched that ChatGPT tried to make a really contrived finale, but Bart's sense of community and desire for his normal family life went against that. And then Tom Hanks interrupts. You're like, hold on a second, Carrot Top. This wasn't the finale? And he says, no, I guess it's more of a season premiere. It's like, I read out of talks for this. And Conan asks HackGPT if he has 800 more episodes left in him. And he chooses Oblivion instead and just blows up. Conan says, he asks if he can get his sweater back. They give it back to him. And everybody like flees the big premiere, and he just looks around and goes,
Huh. I am really not gonna miss this place.
and yeah, all around just a really wonderful,
yeah.
fantastic opening to the 36
Yeah,
season. I thought,
they've done it again, man. They've just come out with an absolute banger to start the season.
absolutely, yeah, a banger and like a unique episode. Yeah, just one of those episodes that like is like the one that would make me go, oh look, the show still has like life and originality left in it. Like it can make an episode like this that,
I know. Yeah,
you know,
it was
the show
so
is like,
heartwarming as well, and like for the fans.
oh, totally for the fans. Yeah, totally. You couldn't really watch this episode without knowing the context of what The Simpsons is.
Hmm.
You know, it couldn't be like someone's first ever episode of the show. But yeah, it's just a great one. Yeah, for the fans, for people who love the show. So as always, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so like I said, came out absolute bang once again. Probably the best first episode of a season I've seen in a long time. In a long time.
Yeah, and that's what you want too. Is you want the
Yeah.
first episode to
And
be a banger, to like set the season off on a good
it just means they're gonna have a lot of
trajectory.
expectation now. Um,
Mm.
but I loved it, man. Like, I'm gonna just touch on the little negatives I have because there's so many positives. This isn't a
Nice.
negative because they made it a positive, but the light switch gag
Mm.
was starting to get I was like, when they did it 3 times, I was like, okay, it's getting like boring now. But then because they did it so many times, I found it funny again. Because I was like, oh, they're
Yeah,
really
totally.
taking the piss. Um,
Yeah. It's one of those things that it almost drives you crazy how much you're doing it, but because of that, it's making me
yeah,
laugh again.
it almost felt
I
like
really liked it.
a little bit too reliant on the cameos. Felt like a bit forced and detracted. Like you made a good point about Seth Rogen. It's kind of like, what was the point of all that?
Like, why was
Um,
he there just to laugh? Yeah.
yeah. Um, I would say it lacks the really sharp satire that The Simpsons is kind of known for.
You think?
Um, it has really good satirical elements, but it's not as sharp as I would kind of expect.
Okay.
Um, However, concept, very meta. I like that it sort of built its
Next
own
level.
world.
Yeah.
Really clever twist with the tropes and with Conan O'Brien hosting the fake series finale. And I
Yeah.
liked the idea, the concept of an episode of Bart confronting the ideas of growing up is good in itself, but then they turn
Mm.
it into like a meta concept. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, really clever. Had great self-awareness, loads of inside jokes for the fans and Easter eggs. Um, and also it was emotional because even though it's not canon and we knew nothing bad was going to happen, it did almost feel like
Hmm.
it was the end, which was quite
Yeah.
genius, like how they did that.
I know it does
Yeah,
hit you in that way, even though you know, and
yeah,
you get caught up in the reality of it. You're like, oh, that feeling of like, what if it was the last episode?
yeah,
Like
literally.
that feeling of like losing my favorite show was quite a heartbreaking thing, and it knows it's doing that, and it takes advantage of that, to
Hmm.
the fans.
Absolutely. And like with my
Mm,
final score, it may go up. I'm
mm,
only saying this score for now because I'm yet to see what the rest of the season holds in store. So I'm
sure.
saying 8.5.
8.5, yeah, fair enough. I would be inclined to agree with you. I gave it a little bit higher. I gave it a 9.
Mm.
I fucking loved it for pretty much everything you just said as well. I just thought it was unique, one of a kind, like one of those episodes that just proves that the show and the writers still have unique and out there stories to tell. Like this is probably what, like I don't know the exact number, but probably like the
Yeah,
775th episode of the show, something like that. And there's no other episode like this one. That they're still able to make genuinely unique episodes. It's just a testament to what geniuses they are. Um, I said I absolutely loved them bringing Conan into the episode. If you actually measure the dialogue, he might have more dialogue than Bart. Like Conan might technically be the main character
yeah,
of this episode, and I have absolutely no problems with that. Yeah, it's so perfect. Exactly who you'd want there because he's such an icon to who the show is, and the fans appreciate him so much. It was so great to have him be, basically the lead of an episode, and he handles it perfectly. Just yeah, so good. Like what you said, it's topical. Um, I loved all the fourth wall breaks and just all that stuff that was truly there for the fans. I always feel the need to address it as well when we get a Bart episode. I love Bart so much, and I feel like it's a character that the newer seasons don't give as much focus to as they do to Homer, Lisa, and Marge. So I'm just always grateful and putting it out there that we want more Bart. And
yeah,
to their credit,
definitely.
yeah, to their credit, when they do give us a Bart episode, it's usually a pretty unique one like this, or like Bartless, or even Bart's Brain. Though I don't like that one as much, it still had like unique things going on about it. And this could have been a really normal episode about Bart like struggling to grow up. It still would have been a good episode, a normal version of that, but they did this and did like a really crazy thing with it that was super cool. And he was the perfect character to do that too. It wouldn't have felt as impactful if it was Homer because he's older, or even if it was Lisa because she's smart anyway. It's more interesting if it's Bart having this more morality crisis.
Definitely.
Yeah, he was the perfect character to choose there. Um, did I say anything else? Oh, I also just wrote, if this was last episode of the show, I actually wouldn't mind. As in, like,
No,
yeah. As in, like, I love it for what it is, and I would rather the show never end. But, like, had this actually been the last episode, I would have been like, what a great, clever way to end the show because it's parodying series finales and addressing what a kind of crazy hard thing they are and how so many shows have fucked up. And it ends up being a great episode that like, I think people would have been happy if this was the last episode of the show. Like I think they would have been like, oh,
Yeah,
they ended it
genuinely.
perfectly.
Mm.
Because The Simpsons is always so satirical anyway that it would have made perfect sense that the last episode of their show was a parody of TV show finales, you know? So yeah, very well done. Yeah, I just have very little qualms about it. I don't want to give it a perfect 10 out of 10 because I don't feel like it was perfect, but I don't have like any particular criticisms, you know?
Yeah, nothing stands out as bad or negative about it.
No, no, not at all. Yeah, it's one that I think it's fantastic, and I would be genuinely surprised and impressed with the show if it didn't end up in my top three by the end
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
the end of the season together. Yeah, I'd be very, very impressed. Yeah, absolutely wonderful episode. All righty, shall we jump into the news then?
Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah. So back on into the news. Yeah, a few pieces this week. Three pieces of news. Um, First one was interesting. I'm not sure if you saw it. It went totally viral. As there was backlash over people thinking that the show had killed off Marge because of all these fake articles.
Oh yeah, all that stuff.
Did you see this?
Yeah, it's been everywhere.
And you didn't believe it?
No. Well, no, sorry.
Ah, well, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought, well, there may be an episode that they've killed her off, but I know it wouldn't be like canon.
Yeah, she wouldn't stay dead. Yeah, exactly, because you actually know the show and and you're a clever man, but by God, a lot of my friends were like sending me links being like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, not real, man. Yeah, the episode, yeah, it's coming up this season. I mean, we won't get to it for a while now. It's only on the first episode right now, but it's called A Stranger Things, and it takes place in the future where the kids are much older. And in this future episode, Marge is dead because she's older than her kids, so that's how time works. She's she's not dead in the regular timeline of the show, and that's what all these clickbaity, um, stupid articles were trying to make people think. So I'm here right now to tell some people in case they weren't too sure. Marge Simpson is definitely still alive. It is not a show that would do that.
Yeah, it's so easy to trick
Oh,
people.
yeah, for what I've seen, it's apparently too easy. I got at least close to 10. I would say 7 or 8 people send me an article being like, what the fuck? Well, they clearly didn't read the article. Only if you read them, it actually does give you the plot of the episode being like, oh, it's set in the future. It's just people just saw the thing, went, what the fuck?
Yep, literally.
Yeah, headlines. Don't believe everything you see online. But hey, it worked. But then the current showrunner, Matt Selman, did tweet about it saying that, don't worry, the episode's set in the future. Well, it's crazy to see stories like this going viral. I guess it is good for business.
Well, that's the thing
Which
as
is a good
well. I was
point.
gonna say, like, it's good publicity for The Simpsons. It wouldn't surprise me if it was deliberate.
Oh, I mean, maybe it doesn't. I've seen the episode. I actually don't think it is deliberate. I think they just were telling an interesting story, and it's especially being set in the future. It's kind of interesting. One of the parents are dead, and it's more tragic if it's a marriage. You see, it's the smart one. The only parent they have left is the dim-witted Homer, who you also didn't think would ever outlive marriage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just a more interesting place to go story-wise. I actually really like the episode, so we'll get that eventually, and we can tackle everything. But yeah, really interesting how viral that went. Second piece of news, quite interesting and surprising, is this piece of news only is interesting to people in the UK and Ireland, won't mean anything to our American listeners, but the show has moved from Channel 4 to E4.
Okay.
Yeah, quite insane, right? It's been Channel 4 for as long
Yeah.
as I can remember.
I guess I haven't watched it on TV for so long yeah.
Yeah, it's like whatever. I know I don't find myself going into network TV that often either, unless I'm home because my mom still has network TV. Well, there is something nice about like just clicking on The Simpsons on Channel 4
I
or
agree.
TV.
As
Yeah,
well,
just
I
because
miss the old the like when before the show would start and it'd be like now is The Simpsons, and it'd be like some sort of interesting thing because Channel 4 would always have their logo and do something creative with it, and it would always have like Homer doing something, or if you remember them.
They're so creative with that. Yeah, I remember the one they used the most was the one where um his TV stops working, so he goes up on the
Yeah,
telephone lines trying to fix it. And yeah, he electrocutes and it just pans out to Springfield and it just spells out Channel 4 with all
yeah.
the remaining lights. That one's so good. Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Final piece of news is something that I felt skeptical about, but the more I think about it, I'm actually okay with it. So, not this season, but from season 37 onwards, the show will now only have 17 episodes a year.
Hmm.
15 will air on Fox, 2 will be exclusive to Disney Plus.
Okay. I
How do we
mean,
feel?
I if they're cutting down the episodes, it to me that fills me with hope because maybe it's going to be more quality over quantity.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's exactly how I feel now. When I first saw it, I was upset because I kind of felt like, oh, this is Disney like messing with their original system, and I like that we always got 22 episodes a year. But then when I thought about it, I was like, well, you'll usually get like 3 or 4 episodes that are duds. So if you're having it be to 17 episodes a year, that's 5 episodes gone. You can make those episodes really good because you don't have to
And
worry
I,
about,
I would like
that's so much more.
yeah, I would like the idea as well if like they did write 22 anyway, and then like they throw out the ones that didn't think were quite good enough to make the 17.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they stick that system just to kind of have a census going of like what are the episodes here to stand out or something, you know? Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I actually think it will serve the show in the long run. Just to 5 episodes gone immediately, because yeah, you typically get 3 or 4 episodes that aren't great anyhow. So just having that extra time to make those 17 episodes great, I'm sure will pay off.
Mm.
You know, they've managed quite successfully to do 22 episodes for so long anyway. So just giving them that extra time to make 17 episodes great can surely only benefit them. You know, quality over quantity. At the end of the day, 17 episodes is still a fucking lot. So
Yeah,
like,
literally.
we have nothing to be, yeah, we have nothing to be ungrateful for there. You know, yeah, I think it'll pay off. And theorizing here, maybe they're going to take the time that they would have used working on those other 5 episodes to make a sequel to the movie.
I was thinking
There's a
that.
little theory
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that could be possible. I would imagine with Disney now, owning them, they're more keen on having there be films. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see what will happen there. Yeah, all really fun pieces of news, I thought. Yeah, lovely. Let's move over to Seb's classics then.
Yeah, and yeah, this week, guys, I went for Mummy Beerest. Weird episode name. A season 16
Yeah, this
episode, so not
instead of
quite
Mommie Beerest.
a yeah, not quite a classic. But yeah, so essentially, for those of you who don't know the episode or need catching up on it,
Mm.
after Moe's tavern fails a health inspection and is shut down, Homer tries to get a loan to help Moe reopen it, but he's denied due to bad credit. However, he secretly listed Marge on the mortgage, making her co-owner of the bar. Instead of reopening it as the same dingy dive, Marge decides to renovate and rebrand as a British-themed pub called the Nag and Weasel.
Yeah, so good.
As Marge become it's somewhere I'd go, by the way. Um
Yeah, yeah, totally. It sounds like a place in Brighton too. The Nag
as
Weasel.
yeah, as Marge
Classic British
becomes
pub.
more involved in running the bar, she grows closer to Mo. The two develop a strong business partnership, with Mo clearly harboring romantic feelings for her. Homer, feeling neglected and jealous, begins to suspect that Mo is trying to steal his wife. Eventually, Mo invites
Mm.
Marge to join him on a business trip to Aruba, which Homer misinterprets as an elopement, and in a dramatic climax, Homer rushes to the airport to stop them. Marge assures him that nothing happened between her and Mo, and she was loyal to him. Mo accepts her choice, but admit it hurts. The episode ends with Homer alone in the renovated bar, while Homer and Marge reconcile. And it's kind of sad because
Yeah.
it's like what's kind of sad is in a way you feel guilty for Mo because Marge
Yeah. I mean, you
never
feel bad for.
yeah, and Marge never
Hmm.
actually even realized what was going on. It's a classic
No.
scenario.
Of course, yeah, yeah. The two men are getting all up in their heads about it. Like Mo thinks he really has a chance, and Homer thinks she's going to leave him for Mo, but Marge is like totally like ignorant of the whole thing, has no clue what's going on. Yeah, man, this is one of those episodes again that I mentioned where it's just like I forget about it. It's not one that kind of crosses my mind if I'm like looking for a random episode to watch just to entertain me or something. One of those ones you just throw it on, you're like, oh fuck, this one is just like a hidden gem. It's just
Hmm.
fantastic. It's has a good story, but like never sacrifices the story over great gags. Like this episode was like really balanced actually in that like
It is
there are
really well
so many,
balanced.
yeah, like there's so many great jokes. But there's also a story and stakes that you care about, like the bar being closed, Homer and Marge's relationship being in trouble, but actually a unique version of that because you have Mo put into the story as well. You know, like we've seen so many versions of their relationship being in trouble, but this feels like a more unique one.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm,
Like I think it's got those like cliches of romances, but it makes it funny. Um,
it does.
and yeah, I think it was like quite an emotional, strong episode. It was a nice,
Definitely.
fresh setting. I really enjoyed the British pub environment. Um,
Yeah, so
this was apparently a Writers Guild Award winner.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they get some
Um,
credit.
and
Right. That's a yeah, that's a big
yeah,
enough
mad.
award.
And
Yeah.
like you said as well,
Hmm.
like it was really, really well balanced episode. And I would
Really
give
well.
it a 7.5 solid score.
Fair enough. I think I'd rate it higher. I think I'd probably give it like an 8.5.
Fair. Maybe I'm being too
I
harsh.
just don't think there's much wrong with it. It's
No.
good, maybe. It's just good fun. It's kind of exactly what you want in a Simpsons episode, especially an episode like season six, a season like season 16, where people would be so much quicker to discount it. But like, it has a story with real stakes that you get invested in. You care about all three characters and their goals and
Hmm.
pursuits in the episode. You know, you want Marge to succeed in running the bar and having that mortgage money pay off. You want Homer to be reunited with his wife, and you also don't want Moe's to shut down. So it has all that going on that keeps you invested. But also just it has so many good jokes and great gags. That card sequence is so cool and
Yeah, fantastic.
creative, so well done, like a parody of, even though they said DreamWorks, it kind of felt more like a Pixar movie. This world of cards, so good. Eddie Murphy getting arrested is like, oh, I thought the king told me that she was a queen. It's so fun, great animation. Yeah, so much going on. I wrote down a few bits that stood out to me. I love the health inspector. What a
Hmm.
great detail that like Mo is just great friends with him, so that's why the bar stayed open all this time. Then his friendliness towards Mo ends up being his downfall as he eats one of the pickled eggs and it just kills
Yeah.
him. So good. Then a proper health inspector coming in later and being like, "This place is a total health hazard." Most like, why? Like, well, for one reason, my predecessor is still on your floor. Like, oh, the garbage doesn't come until Tuesday. He's not just lying there dead. So funny. Um, yeah, the funeral for Moe's I thought was so good. Homer's eulogy, where he's like, "Oh, M is for Moe, O is for the O in the middle of Moe, and E is for acceptance." That Moe is
Yeah.
closing down. Yeah, so funny. Um, one of the bits that made me laugh the most is at the very end where Homer goes on the plane, tries to stop them from going away because Mo has like rented out a hotel room. Like they accidentally booked just one room for him and Marge, and Homer's like, "Oh, I know Marge way more than you do." It's like, "Oh yeah, well, what's her favorite food?" And he's like, "Ice." And he's
Ice.
like, "No, buttered noodles." Like obviously, it's not as plain as ice, but her favorite food is still really bland. It's just noodles. So funny. And like, obviously Marge and Homer reunite at the end and everything goes back to the status quo. But it's just they're both just like cuddling each other. It's like, oh, I love my Margie Wargie. And she's like, oh, I love my homie Womie. And both just like, oh, actually, maybe I dodged a bullet. And my favorite of the whole episode, like genuinely made me laugh out loud when I was watching it earlier, is him getting depressed, talking to Marge, and realizing he has like no family, no friends, no career prospects. He's like, you know what? I'm calling the suicide hotline. They blocked my number. Yeah, I just thought it was such a wonderful episode. I guess one of those ones that just in my head, I don't think of it as like a standout from season 16. It's not one I think of often. So you say to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this one it'll be fun, but like it's whatever. And I watch it, I'm like, it just doesn't skip a beat. It's just
Yeah, to be
good fun
fair,
and laughs.
you raise a good point. I
Exactly.
can't really say many bad things about it.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt. Yeah, yeah. So it was wonderful. Yeah, definitely sticking with my 8.5. But yeah, moving on from there. What is our next segment? Oh, 10 questions.
Ah, yes. Are you ready?
Yes.
I didn't forget, don't worry.
Yeah, I am ready. If you want to just describe it quickly for a potential new listener.
Oh yeah, of course. How rude of me. So
Hmm.
this
All
is
right.
the segment called 10 Questions, where Dylan has 10 questions to narrow down the Simpsons character I'm thinking of, and he can attempt to make a guess with a question, or on the 11th question, he has to make it a guess. So he only gets 10 questions. Are
Yes,
you
I'm
ready,
ready.
Dylan?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Let's jump on in. Yeah, I always ask it just in case. Is it a member of the Simpsons family?
No.
No. Is it a male?
Yes.
Is it an adult male?
No.
No. Okay, so it's a kid.
Yes.
Yes. Is it a member of Springfield Elementary?
Yes.
Yes. Is he in Bart's class?
No.
No. Is he in Lisa's class?
No.
No. Oh shit. Okay. He goes to Springfield Elementary, but he's not a member of either of their classes. Are you certain about that?
Not certain. If he was going
Oh
to
boy.
be in a class, it would be Bart, but I don't think they are.
Okay. Hmm. We don't think they are in a class. It's a male. Hmm. Oh man. Do we when we see this character, is it most often in Springfield Elementary?
Yeah, for the most
Yeah,
part.
okay. Yeah, so it's
But
not
we do, to
like
be fair, we do see them often outside as well.
yeah,
But
sure.
more so, yeah.
I was yeah, I was thinking maybe it's one of the Flanders kids because you see them more at the house, but it's not them then. Oh man, maybe let's start guessing. It's a kid, not in either of their classes, but you'd say if it was anybody, it'd be Bart. I'm gonna say Wendell. Oh man, this is my 10-1, right?
Yeah. So you
10-1, I
technically have
can
two
do
more
it.
guesses.
Yeah, yeah. I'll ask one more question just in case. Is the character American?
Yes.
He is American. Okay, so it's not Usher. Hmm. Oh gosh. Flip, I might not get this one. Let's just throw it out there just in case. Lewis.
No.
Ah,
Finally
wait, let
got
me.
you.
Not the sunglasses kid. I'm just thinking of ones in that were in the episode we reviewed today. I know I've lost it. I'm just trying to think. Can I get it? Oh fuck! It's one of the bullies. Ah
Yeah.
shit! My brain didn't get there quick enough. Jimbo,
No.
Dolph.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm right in saying he's not in Bart's class.
He's not. No, you're right.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
older. Yeah, yeah, you're dead right. He's older, and he's in
Yeah.
Springfield. Yeah, yeah. Damn, I just bullies weren't coming to mind for some reason. Yeah, I was like, if it's a male kid, it has to be in either Lisa or Bart's class. But you're right, they are characters that we know who are older. Damn, got me good. Nicely done. Flip, just didn't get there soon enough. Because yeah, Nelson is in Bart's class, but obviously the other three are older.
Yeah.
Damn, got me good there, I must say. All right, nice, sweet. Let us continue over to keep it short.
Mm.
So yeah, as always, this is the segment where we cover one of the Tracy Ullman Show shorts. Today we are doing the 19th one. This is Grandpa and the Kids. Originally aired January 10th.
And this is also the 19th time that I say Dylan knows all about keeping it short, don't you, Dylan?
I know too well. It may be what I'm best at.
Mm.
Indeed. But yeah, this is a fun enough one. Homer is forcing the kids to talk to Grandpa. They sit down in his lap, and the character for the first time we've ever met him, they kind of have a clear idea of who he is already. He doesn't sound like what he's going to end up sounding like. His personality is very like
Yeah.
what he'll go on to become. Is he's just rambling on, telling them about how he used to walk 20 miles to get to school, and they had no pacifiers. They had to suck on a piece of wood. They had no TVs. They had to sit in their grandpa's lap all evening and listen to him tell his entertaining stories. Bart's like, "Oh, was your grandpa a liar too?" Like, no, but his lap was slippery, and he just falls off. He then tells them a story about a happy little elf, but then reveals that the elf was quite clumsy. Bart gets bored and asks if he can tell a scary story instead. And after he says that, Grandpa just dies, and Bart gets really nervous, being like, "Oh no!" But his great line is he just goes, "It wasn't me who killed Grandpa. It was society." Which is, not something that a modern day Bart would ever say, but it was a funny line. And yeah, Lisa is like worried because she thinks that Bart caused his death. And again, something that Lisa would never say is, "What's it going to be, Bart? The gas chamber or the electric chair?" Super dark, and obviously he's actually alive. He was just joking the whole time. But the realization he's alive puts Bart in such a panic that he faints. And yeah, that was, as far as these shorts go, I thought this one was quite entertaining. It had,
It's
it
getting
had a lot
better.
going on. It had more going on.
The one thing I
Yeah,
noticed
yeah.
was we're seeing more bits of Springfield. Like you could see like the window in the house showing
Oh,
like
true.
the outside Evergreen Terrace. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, very true. Yeah, yeah. A bit more going on. There's slowly evolving. And even just bringing Grandpa. I think this is our first time
Mm.
seeing a character that's not one of the main family members. Even just seeing him is like, okay, they're developing
Yeah.
the world a little bit more. Yeah, it was cool to see like the first iteration of Grandpa, not as lovable as it'll go on to be, and the voice is nowhere near as good as it'll go on to be. But like, it's interesting seeing those origins. Yeah, pretty fun. All right, let's jump over to our recommendations then.
Let's do it.
All right, as always, rock paper scissorinos. Rock paper scissors. We'll go to paper. All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh my word.
Jesus. All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
Wow.
This has never happened before.
Like listening to this podcast without the visuals is going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Rock, paper, scissors. Hey,
Hey.
nice. You fought for that one too.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
sweet.
just got one recommendation this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a book. I have it here with me,
Lovely.
but it won't show because of the green screen thing.
So you put over your
It's
face, maybe. No,
doesn't
never
like
mind.
it.
Yeah, it's not happening. No, rejects
Um,
the book completely. It's
but
book burning, man.
it is called The Desert Fathers. Um,
Mm.
and for those of you who haven't heard of it, essentially it's about the earliest ever monks. Um, in the Middle East.
Ah.
So the earliest ever Christian monks in Egypt, Palestine, Syria, um, and essentially they
Wow.
decided to live lives completely excluded from everything, like monks do, but out in the desert.
Hmm.
And what makes them interesting is it's not
Yeah.
really like an organization or industry. It's just people that desire to just be free from everything and go live a life of solitude. And they like fill their time up doing really mundane tasks like making baskets from straw. And they believe that doing like repetitive, mundane tasks sort of makes them closer to God. And the way they make money is just making things and selling them in near towns. Um, and it's
Mm.
quite psychedelic as well because a lot of them, whether you read the book and believe it or not, a lot of them had like weird encounters with demons and like centaurs, things like that. Giant
Right.
hippos. It's quite bizarre, some of the things that happen in the book. But yeah.
Giant stars and hippos.
Yeah. So I'd recommend it. It's an interesting book. Um, it's fiction or non-fiction depending on your perspective, but
Hmm.
regardless, it's a small book. I'd recommend it.
Nice. But how did the writer intend it to be? Like, did he write it as nonfiction or?
Yeah, they're essentially just a bunch of writings from these monks
Right.
put into the book. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of up to you if those monks are telling the truth or not,
Yeah.
essentially. But that sounds really, really interesting. Cool. Sweet. I mean, as usual, you're like reading up all these interesting, like intellectual things, and I'm like, I saw a funny comedy. Okay, that's what we're recommending very different things. I'm recommending two TV shows this week that I watched since we last recorded. Have you ever seen Father Ted?
Yeah, and I'm gonna blaspheme you. I'm not a big fan.
Ah, you need to give it a second chance. I am currently rewatching it because I'm doing a an Irish comedy play at the moment. So I kind of figured
Mm.
watching a show like this will like get me back into that kind of mindset of the sort of Irish humor. And I'm in stitches at every single episode. I think it's so well written, so funny. The characters are so like just perfectly written. Like there's never a joke that like one character says that another character could have said. It's like it's just so it knows what its characters and its sense of humor is so much. I mean, it's probably the most iconic Irish comedy series in history, and for good reason. I think it's
Mm.
such a well written, funny show. The performers are outstanding. And yeah, just having a blast rewatching it, remembering fond memories of watching it. Um, as a kid, but also like appreciating it more because there's so much jokes that would have gone over my head the last time I saw this show, probably like over a decade ago at least.
Mm.
So yeah, I couldn't recommend Fire Dead enough. I think it's just fucking hilarious. Yeah, you only had the one recommendation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So my other recommendation is The Studio, Seth Rogen's new show.
Okay, I've not heard about it.
Oh, fantastic! I mean, it was really popular and it was well received. So, like, people are, even if you haven't watched it, like, most people listening are probably aware of it. But if you haven't seen it yet, I'd highly recommend it to people. It's on Apple TV, 10 episodes, brilliant. This essentially Seth Rogen plays this head of a studio who wants to make really good movies, but he constantly becomes conflicted with also wanting to make money and having to be a successful company and being in conflict with the stockbrokers and the people who are pushing money into the company, which all they want is to make money. They don't care about a quality film. So, it's done so well. Like it's funny. It also has some poignant points to make about just the state of film right now in general. And there's so many great cameos throughout it as well. Crazy, isn't it?
Sounds really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Scorsese did it as himself, obviously, and he's fucking hilarious. Scorsese is a good actor.
He actually is as well. All his
Yeah,
cameos always fantastic.
they're always good. Yeah, he doesn't overdo it, which I respect. He's not like I feel like when Tarantino gives himself a cameo, he like takes over the whole scene. But Martin Scorsese always gives himself just the right amount to do,
Yeah,
but he's
even yeah, like Taxi
good.
Driver when he's in
Yeah,
in the back of the cab and he's talking about shooting his yeah, so
yeah.
good.
It's just a quick, simple scene.
Do you know about the his mum in Goodfellas?
Oh, I feel like I might have heard something about this, but
There's a scene
remind me.
where the whole mob go back to Joe Pesci's mum's house, but it's actually Martin
Mm,
Scorsese's mum playing the
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I did remember that. Yeah.
And that
So
the whole
cool.
scene was apparently like more or less improv. Like it was just they
That
just said like you've come back from, the murder, just pretend like it's your mum and you've all just come for dinner. Like, yeah.
super cool. I love that shit. Yeah, it's so cool. That, like Scorsese is a big studio guy. Like he's one of the most revered directors of all time, but he still kind of chooses to do a more guerrilla approach to filmmaking, even the day in his 80s, which
Yeah.
really, really respect. Like, there's that scene in Wolf of Wall Street on the airplane, and he wanted that whole scene to like really shaky and like for you to really feel like you're there on the plane when it looks like it's going to crash. And he just couldn't get it to look too fluid on massive film cameras because you can't go moving around with a huge film camera. So he just decided to shoot the scene on his iPhone instead
Yeah, crazy.
because you could just shake that phone around and like make it look really jaggedy and stuff. So it's just so cool how he just does those last minute decisions just to make the scene look authentic as possible. I just feel like a more modern day mainstream director would not take a chance like that. I just respect
Absolutely
Scorsese so
not.
much. It's why he's one of the greats.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he just chooses it's it's the best idea over anything else. Like
hmm
it's nothing about ego or
What
I
makes the
think
film the
Hollywood directors
most
would have.
authentic? That's my decision.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like having that scene be improvised, that he wasn't being precious about the way the script was written. It's like, no, let's just fucking run it and see what that does.
hmm
Yeah, absolute legend. But yeah, Studio, wonderful show, super funny, super inventive. And the whole thing is done. Every episode is like a continuous shot, like the way Birdman was done. So that's really cool too, because it has like that pacing that like is kind of stressful to watch, but like in a really interesting way.
Mm,
Bryan Cranston is also in 3 episodes as like the CEO of the company that Seth Rogen runs, and he's
nice.
so just Bryan Cranston. I think can do anything.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
One of my favorite actors of all time, and he's so funny in this show. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Let's jump on to our final segment and answer a few questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, before we do, like you said earlier,
Mm.
discussing what characters you think should have a spin-off.
I had a good idea.
Yeah,
I thought about why don't the Simpsons, now they have Disney freedom,
true.
uh, make a spin-off one season series that is
Ooh,
set in Moe's bar,
okay.
filmed like a sitcom. So it's called like
Interesting.
Moe's Tavern,
Yeah, like
and
Cheers.
it's nothing ever happens outside of the bar. It's all just the bar, Moe's perspective, and it's almost like a Simpsons sitcom type thing.
That's cool. So it's all set in the bar.
Yeah.
That's a really fun idea. Yeah. So the only character who remains all the time, I guess, is Mo,
Mm.
and other people come and go. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. I mean, obviously, I watched the hell out of that. Great concept. I mean, Mo was obviously one of the best characters outside of the family, so a perfect character to give a spin-off to, and a great location. So yeah, that's super cool. I know at one point they were going to do a live action spin-off where Krusty, Dan Castaneda, who voices Krusty, was going to play him in live action. It was going to be about Krusty moving to LA to host a talk show. I would not be against that, except keep it animation.
Yeah, a
That's
Krusty spin-off would be great. Yeah.
one of the best characters to do that with. Krusty has so much history too. Like there seems to be the implication that like he had a career before the show, like that he's done stuff on Hollywood and New York and stuff like that. So just like exploring the depth of his character, I think would be fascinating.
Yeah, or yeah, a Krusty like prequel.
Yeah, totally. What was his career before he did settle for just doing a kid show in Springfield? Yeah, that's like there's so much scope there. So just this journeyman just trying to make a career for himself
Mm.
in this niche platform of being a clown comedian. Yeah, I think would be fantastic. Yeah, I would love a Principal Skinner spinoff. I just think he's one of the most interesting. He is my favorite character outside of the family, but also just a character who has so much scope. There's
He
so
could
much you could
almost have
dissect
that
there.
like Walter White thing about him where he's like so to the book, clean cut,
Mm.
and has
Yeah, maybe he has something darker going on behind the scenes. And if that show was to happen, I would want Prince Superintendent Chalmers to play a major role in it as well, just because I think he's a fantastic character that
yeah.
the show has been utilizing more recently, and I would love to see him become more and more utilized. So that's one way that they could do that. Another thing into my head is, what if you had like going back to Krusty? What if you had like just the Krusty the Clown show? It was just a full episode of that for
Hmm.
like a season. I think that they could go on forever, but like 10 episodes of just like you know that live show and it being a disaster. Maybe you could see things like going on backstage. It can almost be like a Saturday Night Live type thing.
That'd be cool.
That could be super fun. Yeah, yeah. There's so many characters obviously on the show that have so much going on because they're all such well written characters that like you could do anything with any of them in a way that you could spread out into 10 episodes. Like Mr. Burns, just like
Hmm.
his life, because his life is so different from the family. That'd be cool to see. Like, what is a day in the life of Mr. Burns like?
Yeah.
Because he's just so utterly reprehensible that it'd be a unique thing. Yeah. But yeah, anyhow, let's jump on to the questions. Yeah, so we have 3 questions to get through also. And two are Simpsons related and one is not. So what do you want to do first?
Let's do the two Simpsons ones first.
Cool. To be honest, they're both kind of similar questions. I just didn't want to like take a question away from anyone who was kind enough to ask, but they're kind of similar. Is my buddy Cormac Wall from Cork City asked, well, I kind of covered it almost. He said, which character needs their own episode? Well, I guess when you ask that, it's like characters who don't have their own episodes already, which we haven't said that really, I suppose. The one that comes to my mind straight away, and I know I've said it before, I think Disco Stew is someone who I would love to see
Mm.
what's going on there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I would potentially not single out a character, but I would
Mm.
say, what about an episode from the perspective of the bullies?
The
Because we
bullies,
were
that'd
talking
be
about Dolph earlier. Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't even put Nelson in there because we know
No.
Nelson
Yeah,
before. Yeah, I would
exactly.
literally just those 3. Yeah, Jimbo, Dolphin, Kearney. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Yeah, like what's going on there? What are their home lives like? 'Cause we don't know any of that.
We
So
don't, yeah.
that'd be super cool to see. Like an episode that follows all 3 of them and like maybe their separate lives or something. Yeah, that'd be cool. I knew we've had one before, but we never had any after. I would love to see a bit more of Otto.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, just there's more scope, more to explore there with him, I think for sure. And yeah, this came to mind as a really weird one. Just to wrap up this question, is I just think it'd be interesting. Not quite a specific character, just an episode set in the hospital.
Hmm.
I think would be
Could be
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
Not, yeah, like maybe following like Dr. Hibbert and Dr. Nick. They could be like 2 separate side stories and just seeing like their very different lives as doctors because one
Mm.
is super by the book, like Dr. Hibbert, whereas Dr. Nick is like kind of corrupt and a big risk taker.
Yeah, no, I like
That could be an
that.
interesting thing to explore. Yeah, because we also haven't seen them together that much.
No,
I'd love
to
to
be
see
fair, we
them
haven't.
interacting.
Yeah.
No, 2 completely different doctors with very different standards. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see like how they clash with each other. Sweet, yeah. Question number 2. So yeah, kind of similar. Just it was coincidence that these are both asked literally only today as well. Is Tim Freitas, a great comedian buddy of mine, asked favorite episode in which the Simpsons aren't the main character.
Uh, I'll let you go first.
2 come to mind straight away. Is the one I've mentioned many times. Is Road to Cincinnati, which is in season
Yeah.
32, which is the one that follows Skinner and Chalmers on a road trip together. That one would be a close second. That one's fantastic, and I love that they didn't even have like a side story about the family. it was just so cool that they took a risk like that. But my number one would have to be A Fish Called Selma.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, it's just brilliant. Troy McClure is a great character, and I'm so happy that they gave him his own episode before Phil Hartman unfortunately passed away. And I think it's the first example of an episode that doesn't follow one of the family members' perspective. It's Troy McClure's perspective, and I think it was an episode that really proved that we love this show and these characters enough that you can do an episode where Homer or Bart or Marge or Lisa aren't the main characters, and we will love it. Like, it's a fan favorite for a reason. We just love these characters. So yeah, my number one would have to be Fish Called Salmon, but Road to Cincinnati at a close second. Yeah.
I'm gonna be boring. I can't really think of one off the top of my head.
That's all right. I guess it's just two then. I feel like yours probably would be A Fish Called Salmon as well.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah, just because I know you love that episode, and it is just one of the best examples of one where they get such an amazing story done where like none of the family play like a particularly important role. Like they're all in it, but like they're not main characters. So yeah, so good. And finally, we are wrapping it up on this has been a weird episode in general, and we're wrapping it up on a weird bloody question. Is my good buddy Ollie Miller, who always asks the best questions in fairness to him, goes, is a life of comfort better than one of fitful, dangerous adventure?
Absolutely not.
That's it?
Absolutely not, because if you don't strive to anything or push yourself out of your comfort zone, life is quite miserable and boring.
I hear that, but just to play devil's advocate and make it be an interesting discussion, is I don't judge people who just settle for a normal life. Being someone who has chosen a crazy life, right? I have all these dreams and these endeavors, and they're mental, and I don't know what's going to happen from one month to the next. I love the craziness of my life, but sometimes I'm envious of somebody who just chose, like, I just want to live in my hometown and start
I do
pay a
agree.
mortgage.
I completely understand why people find comfort in that. I think it's just life isn't really a test, and I don't think it's really satisfying if you've not strived or pushed yourself out of your comfort zone. Not to say you have to for your whole life, but
no. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think if you do ultimately decide to settle for a normal life, or you just like have a family and like a normal 9-to-5 job, I think if you at least had a crazy life beforehand, just had a couple of years where you pursued a crazy endeavor, or you traveled, or just whatever is like burning inside you that you want to try, just do it,
bro. And it would make the comfortable
risk.
life more satisfying.
Exactly, yeah, because you're like, okay, I tried that, and I have all these amazing stories and these experiences, and now I'm doing this,
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, I definitely don't think that. You asked the question again, a life of comfort. I don't think a life of comfort is better than one of fitful, dangerous adventure. But I do also think there's a balance.
Middle ground. Yeah, definitely.
Middle ground. Because I know some people who chose a life of fitful adventure and like aren't playing it safe at all. You have to, you have to be reasonable. Like have a job where you make money and have a roof over your head and stuff like that. Like you got to be careful, but you can do that while it's also like pursuing something crazy. Like you can do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also stand by that. I don't judge somebody who just chose to live a normal life, but I do think you'll have a more satisfying. Once you do settle down, you'll be more satisfied with these crazy stories you had of that period where you did go out and just do those things that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
It would have been an interesting conversation if you felt the exact opposite.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting. Yeah.
But we obviously met because we're both risk takers and people who pursued interesting things. That's why we're doing a podcast together.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is definitely an interesting debate. My attitude is like, you only have one life. Like, if I'm at my grave being like, you're not going to be at your grave being, I'm so glad that I took the safe route.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're going to think of all those things you wish you had tried. even if they were like a crazy, risky dream or whatever. And yeah, that is a very serious way to close out a podcast called Sebastian Have a Simpsons Podcast. But that was wonderful fun.
It was indeed.
And yeah, thank you guys as always for listening, and we'll chat to you really soon.